Hello, welcome to Ups and Bros, and this week we brewed a collab for Easter.
For an open window on a crafty world, Max and Chris from Ups and Bros. Ups and Bros. Welcome to Ups and Bros.
Alright, so this week on Ups and Bros, I'm pumped to share with you guys, yes, our collab that we recently brewed with Wood Brothers. But not just Wood Brothers, it's the first ever collab that we're doing with our good friends at BAOS Podcast, Beerism and Nathan Does Beer. If you're not aware yet, it's all good friends of us, good friends of Ups and Bros, good friends of the show, good friends that we share a private chat group on Facebook for over, I think it's 2 or 3 years now. We don't have like a friend anniversary something, but it's still something that's been running in the back for quite a while. And the reason why we're kind of like grouped together is that we share probably the same thoughts, but also great jokes about beers, kind of like in the back end of it without being upfront about it. It's just a good way to kind of like vent off on stuff that we don't like or stuff that we really do like, and also a great way to support each other into this online creation thing that we're doing. But before I dive into this collab we did with Wood Brothers, I want to quickly shout out to BrewHQ. They proudly support the show starting today, and we can't be more pumped about it to have partners like BrewHQ. They are an online homebrewing supply shop, so it's perfectly timed right now with everyone being at home and trying different things. Don't do bread, do homebrew. It's fantastic. Whether you'd like to upgrade your current setup or just get started, they have equipment, ingredients, everything you need. So get started brewing today using the code BROS to get 10% off your first purchase on brewhq.ca. That's BROS for 10% off on your first ever purchase with BrewHQ. Go check it out, link down there in the description. Thanks BrewHQ for supporting the show, and let's get back to the video. So, the collab with Wood Brothers. Just to get you guys a little bit in the bathtub before we get started, let's check out with Chris from the past. He actually has a little interview with Craig from BOS. Chris from the past, tell us what's crispy out there. Crispy.
Woohoo! I feel
Crispy.
so crispy. Crispy boy right there.
Crispy. But we're not crispy today because we're at Wood Brothers Brewing Company.
Yeah.
Yes, we're back in the middle of nowhere, and I brought some friends with us.
What's up, y'all?
So it's a weird collab. I already teased you guys about it, but we kind of like put all this together in less than 5 hours last week. So we're here today to brew
Cadbury Cream Egg Easter pastry stout with lactose.
with lactose. Yes, Ups and Bros with lactose. How it's gonna turn out, we don't know.
Amazing.
Will it be good?
Yes.
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 So we're taking you guys both on Craig's channel, BOS, and on Ups and Bros through the brewing process, but also we're teaming up with Beerism and Nathan Does Beer.
Yes.
The crew.
The whole
crew
squad.
finally coming together in one special beer, and
Finally.
all this thanks to Wood Brothers.
Yes.
So we're gonna take some sweet shots of this. I'm gonna walk you guys through a little bit of the process because we're kind of like playing with adjuncts that we haven't really talked about on the channel really. Literally like Cadbury Cream Eggs, it's not something you see, and a special fudge too at the same time. So super pumped. You guys should be very excited about it, and yeah, so let's go do that. It was quite fun to sit down with everyone at Wood Brothers and help them brew this beer. It was actually challenging to add those different flavors and aromas to this big hefty stout, and I gotta say everything was shaken by hand, the old method, and I gotta love it. And Wood Brothers has all this nice beer is fun filled around the philosophy of the brewing they're doing. So they had this in mind. They wanted to do a Cadbury pastry stout. We wanted that on our end because I got very carried away with different flavors available at my local protein shake store, and I was kind of like stunned by how many different flavors that very pair well with pastry stout. So I talk about it on the group chat that we have together, and it came to like, hey, let's do it. And then reached out to Wood Brothers, and boom, we did it. And it was so fast and so fun to work with them that I like can't dream about a better collab than this. But brewing with Cadbury Cream Eggs, what's the challenge? So Max, you have all this knowledge right there in your brain. Tell us, what's the challenge, and does it really matter in the end process? Like, I'm not the science guy, you are, Max.
All right, so yeah, Chris, I wasn't physically there while this was all going on, but here's the gist of kind of how and why you would want to add an external sugar source like Cadbury Cream Eggs to a beer. It's very, very popular right now in the States, Florida especially. I've got a friend of mine who is from over there and is a huge fan of those imperial stouts, imperial pastry stouts, where they add a bunch of different pastries to their beers to extract more sugar and some flavor from it. Now, in the case of the Wood Brother collaboration that we've done, it was Cadbury Cream Eggs, which always very, very interesting. It's out right now if you guys want to have a sip or try it out. It's a very cool concept. So you're adding the chocolate two ways to this beer, at least two major ways. The way I would do it is mostly in your mash, but also in your boil. So in your mash, well, actually, that's the thing with adding into the mash or the boil. You're only really extracting the sugars from this. You're not going to extract a lot of flavors from it. By adding it to the mash, you might jam it up a bit, but you're also helping those enzymes convert any of the more complex sugars to more fermentable sugars at that point. But when it comes to chocolate, or even when you're adding cereals, I mean, we've seen beers like Dominion City adding Fruit Loops to beer, or some people have added Pop-Tarts. Those sugars in the cereal has already been processed. You're already at a sugar that is easily digestible by your enzymes and by your yeast later on in the process. So in the case of this, adding it to the mash, yes and no. You are helping out a bit, but not that much. Where you really want to add it is your boil, but you also don't want to jam up the pumps afterwards. So you really have to make sure you're vigorously boiling that, and you're maybe not adding a lot of chunks to it later on. Anyways, by adding it to the boil, you are really concentrating that wort and adding all of those sugars directly where you want them to be. Now, I've said it earlier, tiny bit, is it's all fermentable sugar, so you're not actually extracting a lot of flavor from it, at least not as much as you would expect. Same concept if you use honey or maple syrup in beer. You're not extracting a lot of flavor, you're extracting a lot of the sugars because it's a lot of fermentable sugar. In the case of Cadbury Cream Eggs, kind of a shot in the dark. There's probably some more complex sugars. There's lactose in there, so you're still going to have that flavor from it. You're still going to have the lactose active in there, but you also have some more simple sugars from the actual filling of the Cadbury Cream Egg. That's mostly sugar, and it's mostly, highly fermentable sugar, at least sweeter sugar that your yeast is going to love munching on and creating a higher alcohol beer, more fermentable sugars for it. Now, if you really want those flavors in, if you really want the Cadbury flavor in, if you're looking to create a beer that has that nice chocolate feel to it, it's not necessarily with the sugar you're adding the mash or the boil. It's mostly what you're doing later on in the fermentation process. So by adding cocoa nibs and by adding vanilla, especially pure vanilla, not the extract vanilla, you're adding those flavors into a place where it's not going to get fermented by the yeast, or actually keeping a lot of those flavors through and in. It's a cool concept. Very happy that we're able to be a part of this. Looking forward to trying it out and tasting it and seeing what happened, what does it do, and seeing how next time when I want to do something like this, where do I cut costs? How do I use this information to maximize the amount of sugars that's added and minimize the amount that you have to put in? And I think by adding cocoa nibs and vanilla, it's a great way to get to there. You're actually adding those flavors directly in. The same concept as dry hopping, where you're only extracting the flavors and none of the bitterness. sweetness. In this case, by adding cocoa nibs and vanilla, you're only adding the flavors from it. You're not adding any fermentable sugars in it. Anyways, Chris, up to you. Okay, back to you. Yeah.
All right, so if you want to grab a bottle or two of this fantastic beer, it's already sold out. The beer already sold out this week, but if you have one waiting for you, hopefully you'll enjoy it. We had so much fun doing this beer. Craig's gonna have a nice vlog coming out about the brew day. I'll put the link down there in the description if you want to check it out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this collab we did with Wood Brothers. If you'd like us to do more collabs with breweries or just go out there with breweries once we can actually get out of here, then let us know in the comments down below which breweries we should do next. It's always appreciated to have you guys on the channel. Thanks a lot for the support. Check out BrewHQ if you want to upgrade your own brewing systems and start brewing today. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.